So guys, I just wanted to go over quickly the Wicks and Bodies question that just keeps arising from a few members in the community. Now, what I want you to really focus on, guys, is that we are looking at structure. Okay, structure is more important than anything else that you're focusing on. The theory behind Wicks and Bodies obviously is coming from using support and resistance. Now, I know it's important to monitor this when trading this strategy also. At the same time, it's not as important as. Now, what I want to highlight is the reason why you're looking at wicks in the market is because we can identify that this was potentially an area where manipulation happened. So that being said, if we are looking for sells in this market, let's just say, for example, a double top structure here. What we want to be mindful of when making a decision to take this trade is, yes, we can see the wicks are above structure. Do we choose to put our stop loss below or above this wick, or do we choose to put it above the area in the market where there's manipulation? Now, that's a personal decision that you have to make, because the point is, you may be somebody that uses a small stop loss, or you may be somebody that uses a big stop loss. Now, if you use a big stop loss, then clearly you're going to put your stop loss above this structure, and it goes back to the stop loss theory video that I mentioned. You may be safer than somebody who puts their stop loss above this structure. The only reason you're using this is to identify where you want to place a stop loss. Now, if we're looking at this area in the market and we see that price has been broken, and we start to look into this too much and say, well, price broke above this now, and look, it's a bullish structure. Well, the way we eradicate that thinking is by saying to ourselves, well, if this is a bullish structure, then what we're looking for is for price to leave this structure, to come back to it, and then continue up. Now, that is a process that will take at least a good 8, 12, 16 hours. Because what we're looking for on the market is we're looking for the market to leave the structure clearly, then come back to it after some time, and then show a reaction and give us confirmation before we buy. So we're not looking for price just to simply break the structure, retest it immediately, and then say, well, now this is a buy structure. That's completely incorrect. What we can start doing is identifying that price, yes, may be breaking the structure, but when we start to see signs that price is leaving wicks and pushing back down and identifying a potential reversal in the market, what you do is you just move your level to account for as many wicks as possible. And that is simply as it is. Same for the downside. Say we're looking at the structure as a push to the downside. We see this break of the structure, first higher low, we see price moving, and then we see this happening. Now, we don't really want to be drawing our line like this, because if price comes back to this level now, what we don't want to get ourselves into the habit of doing is saying, well, now this is a buy opportunity and I'll put my stop loss below here. What we want to be doing is trying to account for as much of this wick as possible, so that if price decides to push down and we have entered the trade, we have the safest stop loss possible. So what you have to be doing is using the lower time frames to understand the behavior of the market, which I have done a video for you also, and start to identify, well, this now is the lowest wick on the market. This price action is indicating bull pressure back in the market. The question is, do I now draw this like this? Well, no, you don't, because if we go back to the 4-hour time frame, what happens is you now are starting to account for too many wicks. Let's keep this here to identify that, yes, price is not able to close below this body-wise, and then yet let's use the hourly time frame or the wicks to just identify where you can put your stop loss. And that is it. Nothing else. You don't need to do anything else. All we're aiming for is for a safe stop loss. And this is what the wicks are going to do for us. So on the 4-hour time frame, what I want you guys to be focusing on is identifying, yes, that price is failing to break below structure. That's completely fine. If we do have a violation of that structure, then start to monitor for wicks, because remember, we only buy once price leave structure comes back. If it starts to leave wick behind, then just make slight adjustments. If something looks drastic and you're not too sure, then let it go. But the point is, focus on wicks when buying for safe stop losses, for selling, safe stop losses. If you do get a slight break above, then you're waiting for price to leave that structure for a period of time and come back to retest. Slightly move it down if you must to the wicks. But that is the only time we focus on bodies and wicks, okay? If you're still having a confusion, and this is for those that are still really confused, please just do this, okay? Just do this because it's all the same difference, and just understand this is where your stop loss is going to be. Again, for this one here, if you're confused, please do this and just understand that this is where your stop loss is going to be. When I draw it like this, it makes it look clearer. This is an area on the market. This is an area on the market. This price action was never really broken. So I hope that was useful. If you're still having problems, you know where to find me. But please rewatch it over again if need be, and hopefully this works out for you, okay?